Okay, Connor. So I assume you know who you're going to vote for in the election, or
Um, yeah, so far,
okay,
it was a tough battle before because I did not really want to take sides.
okay,
Uh, what I saw was two old geezers battling it out, both of them eventually getting dementia. One of them already crossing that line, one of them they're getting there, and
okay,
it's like I don't want to vote for any of these two people because it, it's it just seems too extreme of a line. I was like, I need to go for a third party, and there is just no one right now that will be able to do that. Um,
okay. Well, without revealing too much,
yeah.
I guess I would just ask you, how confident are you um, in the person that you're voting for? How confident are you that they're the person that people should vote for?
I mean, out of 10, I, I would give it a solid 7.
7. Okay, all right, nice.
I mean, it, they are um, definitely something that would be a refresher to what we've had for several years. Um, Finally, like something that is not an old man trying to run stuff and not knowing what they're doing, and everyone else fighting at their throats about what are you doing right now. It's just so wrong. And either way, no matter what that politician does, it's not going to be good enough for one party or the other. And I totally hate that. Um,
Okay. Is there anything that would increase? You said you're at a 7 out of 10, right?
yeah.
Is there anything that you could learn about either candidate, or maybe something else that would increase your confidence in this candidate?
Um, my, the reason why I don't have a lot of confidence is because um, I don't know a lot about this person,
Oh, okay.
and um, I can't guarantee what's going to happen or predict what's going to happen. All I could see is what's in front of me right now.
Okay. So it seems like maybe you could learn a lot of things that would increase or decrease your
Yeah,
confidence. Okay. That's really interesting. So you talked about kind of liking something new or fresh.
yeah.
So if the other candidate changed in such a way that made you feel like the other side got rid of that issue of not being new or fresh, would that change your confidence, you think?
Honestly, no, because the other side has already crossed a line, and it's
Oh, okay.
just no going back.
Cross the line. Okay. Okay, got you.
Yeah.
So is there anything that the person that you're voting for could do? It seems like if there's this line, then maybe there's some potential that the candidate that you're voting for could also cross the line.
Um, so far, this candidate has not been too extreme on either side, and I'd love that.
Okay.
Um,
Is
I,
that the line? Is the line extremism, or is it something else?
uh, the line is extremism or between two parties. I could see far right just going at it, and then far left going at it. There is no in between. But what I've seen is somewhere where there's actual um, agreement upon both, and you don't see that a lot. For the You haven't seen it a lot for like the past 6 years.
Ah, okay. I see what you're saying. So partisanship.
Yeah, partisanship.
Okay. Partisanship. Okay. So now, if the candidate that you're not voting for, if they were replaced, or if views about that candidate started to change where there was more partisanship, would that change your
That
confidence?
would definitely change my confidence.
Got you. Okay, got you. So it seems like extremism is really a big thing for you. You're seeing extremism more from one candidate
I
than
am
the other.
very moderate. I've grew up in both extreme sides, so I've seen everything. Can I swear?
Yes.
Okay.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. Okay. I've seen bullshit from both sides here, and I I can't stand it anymore. I now am able to tell what's wrong and what's right. Um, shit. What was I gonna say? Sorry, I have ADHD.
You're all right.
Um,
Take your time. Take as much time as you need. You can slow down.
uh, what was the question again?
That extremism seems to be the line for you. That the idea of partisanship, and now it sounds like maybe being moderate, is really important to you.
Yeah, it is very important to me because both sides are going at each other's throats, and I hate it.
Okay. Yeah. So, and we also talked about if this candidate kind of started to become more moderate
Yeah,
and started to curry favor on both sides and was more, they got more partisanship, that might change your confidence too.
exactly.
Okay. Okay. Let me think of something else. So, do you think extremism is always bad?
Um, honestly, in my opinion, there is some ways extreme extremism isn't as bad as it seems, but also most of the time it gets way too out of hand, and to the point where it could cause harm, and it's just a lot. Um, it like as the years go on, things get more and more extreme, and then soon enough, there's not any sense being made. It's
Okay.
just gibberish to try and kill off the other party.
Okay. Um, so earlier we were talking about how there's things that this candidate could do that would make you think that maybe they're more moderate,
Yeah.
they're currying favor in terms of both parties and this partisanship. Is there anything that this candidate that you're voting for could do that would make you think that they're becoming more extreme and lower your confidence?
Um, what what I would think would lower my confidence in this candidate is if they were to say, "Hey, um, that's actually a really hard question." Um, what I've seen from this candidate is that um, shit. God damn, this is such a hard question. Um,
What is the other candidate doing, if you can explain it without giving it away, that you think is extreme?
what I think is really extreme of the other candidate is the all-out ban of certain things that seems way too immoral. Take taking away of rights that shouldn't have been taken away in the first place.
Okay.
Um, it and we're basically going to revert back to say the early 60s 70s, and I don't want that to happen, um, where there's little to no civil rights for minorities,
Okay.
and I don't like that whatsoever. I represent a lot of people, um, especially a lot of minorities, um, and I don't want to see rights taken.
Okay. So, if this other candidate that you are planning to vote for started taking away rights and banning certain things
Yeah,
and doing things that looked more like a prior time before we had more rights,
yeah, exactly.
would that change your confidence?
That would definitely change my confidence.
Okay. What if, let's say we have somebody else come here and they are voting for the person that's opposite that you're voting for, and they view your candidate as extreme,
Okay.
and they they view this candidate as causing some of these problems, taking us to an earlier time, um, is there a way that we could tell which one of you was correct about the claim that their candidate was extreme? Is there some process we could go through to figure it out?
It, I believe so. I mean, I'm always open to have like a sit down discussion about what's going on and trying to nitpick what I might have wrong. And I'm going to tell you this: I'm able to actually accept that on some conditions I'm wrong and incorrect about some subjects. So what I would do, I would just have a sit down discussion and try and pick out what they're trying to say. Say we're going back to like a couple of years ago where we had a whole another election, and both side one side is tired of the other because of everything that happened in the past few years, but also the other side that's new and oh, this is going to be a new breath of fresh air. He doesn't seem too good either, but um, there's a lot of people that still want to stick with the other person. And with that, I would want to take a look at that person's values before anything else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the candidate's values.
Candidates' values along with the person I'm discussing it
Oh,
with.
the person that you're just. Oh, okay, got you.
Yeah.
So if you're talking to the person and your values don't align, then you're more likely to maybe not take what they say so seriously. Is that the idea?
It's either that or like trying to judge what's the difference between the two of us that might
Okay.
cause that extremism in both ends there.
Awesome. That's very clear. Okay, so I understand that. Yeah, that was well spoken. Um, do you think that you could give, let's, let's say, because I've heard people from both parties say that the other side is extreme.
Yeah.
Do you think that you would be able to explain why the other side thinks your candidate is extreme? Maybe what their best argument would be?
I could.
Okay.
Probably. Again, I've several years I've grew up in both households.
Okay.
So, what I've seen is um, um, shit. I totally forgot what I was saying. Say the question again.
Do you think you could explain the other side's argument about why your candidate is extreme?
Yeah. So why my candidate might be extreme is, hey, they don't. A lot of people have a lot of morals about abortion and how,
Okay.
say, um, it's still a living being. You can't murder that, and I totally agree in some things. I but how the other side would view me as extreme is um, wanting to regulate guns. I mean, you don't really necessarily need an AR-15 for everything, um, but having guns are fine. It's just like regulated a little bit. Um, I'm I'm trying to think of like how else I could be seen as that, but also I'm very willing to debate. So it's hard for me to take sides like that.
So would you say that your seven kind of comes from these discussions already having happened?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Is there anything in this reflection so far that you've had that you didn't have in mind when you originally chose seven, and you might choose something different?
Um, Honestly, this discussion has just helped me self-reflect, and I really see how my mind is thinking about how this is um shit. I'm I can see what I'm thinking now, and really I wouldn't change anything.
Okay.
Um I can still see how both sides can be viewed as extreme. I know that there still is a lot of people at each other's throats, but I'm starting to think that's going to not happen as often in the future
Okay.
because for like say since 2016, it's been an uprising of political tension, and I feel like it's already reached its climax. It can only go down from here.
Got you. If your candidate loses and the other one wins, do you still see that happening, or do you think it'll be
Um,
different?
I I feel like if the other candidate would actually win, the candidate I'm not voting for, if they would win, I feel like there probably might be a political outrage again, like the 2016 election, and except it's going to be. Um, I feel like it's going to be something really bad.
Oh, okay.
Um,
But you don't view that as happening if your candidate wins?
I don't. I view a little bit of outrage from like some extremist bits of the other party, but feel like it still would be going in the general correct direction. However, the other side, I feel like there's going. If the other side wins, I feel like there's going to be a lot of riots.
Is that your side, though?
Um, the other side I view as the person I'm not voting for. So,
Right.
um,
So if you are just tell me if I'm wrong.
yeah.
So if the other candidate wins, you view the constituents of the person you're going to vote for as causing a lot of being very upset and causing a lot of turmoil.
Not my candidate specifically, but the society
Society.
surrounded around.
Got
Yeah.
you. Got you. And so I'm wondering if there's a because it seems like the view is that the other candidate is extreme, but the way that you describe the outcome of the policy, it sounds like the some of the people, at least that are voting for the person you're describing, is extreme. So I
Um,
wonder if
there could be some. I feel like there's mostly moderate people on the other end, but a lot of them don't understand what might actually happen, and
okay,
in turn, that's though those things that are going to happen if that candidate wins is going to affect heavily what everything else is happening in society, and
okay,
I feel like it would cause a lot more discrimination and all that, and it's
okay.
uh,
So
that
it's more about the candidate than it seems like the people voting for the candidate.
yeah,
Okay.
more of the candidate affecting what's under, and then somewhat the opposite effect on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I see that. Okay.
Yeah.
But the idea though is that if their side loses, so you think some people will be upset, but it won't necessarily be bad. But if your side loses, the other person will implement a bunch of potentially bad policies.
Yeah.
And you also see a lot of outrage towards that person
Exactly.
occurring too. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Did I describe that correctly?
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Got you. Okay. Yeah. Um, so I think that's all the questions I have. Do you have any questions for me?
So far, no. I need to head back to my dorm. I got a lot of stuff to do.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Busy college life.
Yeah. I'm a freshman, so of course I was dumb and filled my entire schedule full of everything I can't handle.
It's better to learn it, when you're a freshman than later. So
Yeah.
you'll get a diverse experience. That's always good.
Yeah.
But thanks, Connor. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thanks for the conversation.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks again. Thank you.
I actually already subscribed.
Oh, thanks. Take care. Dude, like,
it's a win when they come out and say, caused me to reflect.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's the thing.
what? Can't get much better than that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I wanted to be respectful of time. I wish I would have had more because I feel like we just got to something really meaty, which was the idea that he viewed the people who are voting for the candidate that he's voting for as more extreme. It sounds like, at least in terms of their
And extremism
response
is what's causing him.
to not vote for the other candidate. Yeah.
Right. He's basing his vote mainly on the fact that his candidate is less extreme.
Yes.
And it sounds like extremism is the result if his candidate wins.
Yes. Yeah.
It sounded like he was voting third party.
No, he's not.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know who he's voting for.
Okay.
But he views. I'm sorry. There's one part that was incorrect there that you said. He views extremism as a current. Well, so what happens is he thinks. I'm gonna try to avoid saying I think it's obvious to anybody that's watching. But anyway, he views the person that he's not voting for as more extreme, but the people voting for him as not necessarily that extreme. Some of them are extreme, but not all of them. Whereas he views the candidate he's voting for as not very extreme, but the people voting for her will act out more extremely if the other candidate wins.
Gotcha. Why did I get the sense that he's voting third party?
He did at one point say that he was undecided at first.
Okay.
That's going to be the part that's obvious, is that he said initially you had two candidates who were older, that he thought were, senile. He might be voting third party, and I missed it. But I think it sounded to me like he was saying that he had considered voting third party, but because the circumstance changed, it made him feel like there was something new and fresh.
It was a consideration of him to vote third party because of extremism.
Yeah.
My question was going to be if...
Oh, no. Well, I think it's because both of the candidates were older. Is actually why he was considering...
Well, you had a good real reason check.
Yeah.
And it sounded like the real reason check exposed that extremism was his main reason.
Yeah. Yeah, that seemed to be that was the line.
Yeah, okay.
That he was saying was being crossed.
Because my question was going to be if he was voting third party, if that third party's candidate didn't exist, would he still vote?
Oh, okay.
And how would he decide who to vote for?
Got you. Yeah, because that's the other thing that he said was third party really isn't viable.
Okay.
Yeah, he said he was going to vote third party, but it's not realistic.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he said something like that as well.
It wouldn't make an impact.
What?
It wouldn't make an impact.
Yeah. Something
like a
something
wasted
along those
vote kind of
lines.
thing.
Yeah, I mean, he's not saying any of this, but he did say something like he considered voting third party, but it's just not a real option. He said something. He worded it in a way that isn't any of those things, but something else that's more vague. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's cool. How do you feel?
Yeah, it feels good. Yeah, I would like to do it again. So we'll see if we get time.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish he had questions for me. That's one thing that I would like to get someone that actually had questions about it.
Yeah.
Because it would be interesting to see how the conversation changes. That was a conversation that I think if people watch this, I'm wondering if they're just like the curtain dropped 10 minutes into the conversation, 5 minutes into the conversation, so you should have just changed. Because to me, I'm 90% confident that I know who he's voting for, and it's very clear in what he was saying. So at that point, I'm wondering if we should have just been like, it's out in the open now. Because if I'm right, the things that he said, he knows that people know that who he's voting for too. It's very obvious by the reasons that he gave at one point.
Yeah, like when should we just go ahead and have them reveal it and continue?
Come out with it. Yeah. Or I would say I'm like 99% that I'm confident who he's not voting for.
Yeah. Yeah, and that seems like, a elections these days is not really who you're voting for, but who
And
you're
who you're
voting
voting
against.
against, yeah, that's common.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is kind of a shame, right? Like,
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, I think we've heard from other people, like, we're kind of in a time where there's not so much discussion about policies and these things, you know.
Yeah.
And it's a strange, you know, phenomenon, especially when you go back and you compare these types of conversations to other candidates in the past and the way they spoke about each other. It's a different ball game for a lot of different reasons, but yeah,
cool. Anything else?
I don't think so, no.